Pole vaulters are renowned for their fantastic athleticism, which allows them to leap to incredible heights. However, even the most accomplished vaulters occasionally have unanticipated moments that draw more attention than expected. In this instance, a mid-jump wardrobe malfunction left one pole vaulter impressing and astounding the spectators. With the swift transformation of an intense sporting moment into a viral sensation, spectators received more than they had anticipated. Watch to find out how this situation played out and why it became such a hot topic of conversation. Before the dive. Speaking of amusing photos taken during the most awkward moment possible when engaging in water sports, we have this one to share with you. We may infer from their expressions that this picture was shot right before they dove into the water. We imagine that the person in that room was struggling to breathe. However, it appears that the athlete's strange positions came about due to seeing them in action. If you make it a point to observe every position people take while they move about, you'll be shocked at how many strange things you see. How incredibly. In the strange sport of wrestling, weird things happen. We don't know, though, how a circumstance like this might come up in the future. Was this just a random event that happened? We find both ideas to be ridiculous. Was there a deliberate, completely illogical explanation for this action? In any case, there's something funny and something confusing about the issue. Whether intentional or not, whatever these sportsmen are doing should, at the very least, make people wonder. Doing it backwards. Few things can make you look quite as silly as holding a sign the wrong way. Nobody misses it. Nobody believes you are utterly unaware that you are having it wrong, and you look foolish. Indeed, we would contend that the most embarrassing thing about the whole thing is how oblivious the subject of the picture is. It's lovely that they don't even realize that others are laughing at them or don't understand why people are laughing at them. Hang on tight. Even though their grace under duress is comparable to figure skaters, gymnasts, and acrobats, they make mistakes like everyone else on the field. Even if they could make it seem easy, things are rarely as simple as they seem. While it is true that even the best gymnasts occasionally go off the balancing beam, we lay people find it humorous that a surprisingly small portion survive the fall. A suitable response. One day, in a game where leg throws and ball kicks make up most of the action, something similar occurred. We simply can't seem to get ourselves to quit. Although it's well known that soccer players have an odd tendency to invent ailments when anything similar happens, it's probably not a fake in the first place. Though we're sure this was an accident and that it's inappropriate to laugh at males experiencing this kind of event, we can't help but find the image's simplicity rather humorous. Ball-to-ball contact. The item that protects a male player's most valuable goods is one of the most essential equipment in all sports. Why? In fact, there are other causes for this. It is difficult to forecast where a ball launched into the air will land. Even the best pitcher makes mistakes occasionally, so having the tools to lessen these errors is much better in these situations. One way or another, we draw a comical picture from the circumstance. Accidents happen. This image is an example of something that looks funny because it seems like something else entirely. We will assume that nobody intended to hit this unfortunate baseball player in the face. If a fan randomly punched a player in the face, that would be crazy, to put it mildly. This player was probably only the victim of an unlucky error that led to a blow to the face. But it was still a pretty funny sight for everyone to see. Directly in the face. While many people do not view track running as especially risky, accidents happen frequently. Sadly for the athletes, some of those accidents end up being humorous. Naturally, this is to our benefit. We can all giggle at this amusing picture of an unidentified athlete hitting a hurdle face first. Even though we feel bad for them, we can't help but laugh at their expense. Athletes can at least make their humiliation disappear by performing better the next time. Incoming. Even the most skilled sportsmen occasionally drop the ball despite having superb hand-eye coordination. And there's a strong possibility that the ball will strike your face at that point, and the athlete will make a hilarious face if it does. people who have been hit in the face by a volleyball should not be made fun of. But remember that suffering is always funny, as long as it does not happen to you or your friends. Dunked on. Basketball is primarily a physical sport, but it also involves much dunking. Even so, most of it is interpretable as allegorical, a hazardous risk associated with the area. These things are symbolic, and we don't think it's necessary to clarify what we mean by that in great detail. Because of how much jumping happens during a basketball game, we believe basketball is the sport with the highest likelihood of an event of this kind. Flat out. It should come as no surprise that sportsmen are occasionally knocked down, given how much jumping and running they must perform. Usually, these embarrassing trips and falls lead to some hilarious events that make us all smile. But since those athletes often accomplish things we never hope to do, we don't have much room to laugh. However, as long as you simultaneously respect their abilities, it's okay to laugh at such antics. The pileup. Scrambling is also full of embarrassing accidents, which happen far too frequently. Being the product of a single person's mistake, most of these incidents can be very uncomfortable. Nobody will notice you if you make this mistake and are at the back. Imagine what it would have been like to be the cyclist in the collision that led to the scene you see above. That's the cost of being 1 or 2 steps ahead of the pack and committing an error. Athletes who receive media attention suffer more humiliation when things go wrong. The epitome of grace. Compared to most other sports, figure skaters are considered the most graceful athletes in the world. If anything, it becomes even more embarrassing when they make a stupid mistake. Regretfully, these circumstances occasionally arise, even for professional figure skaters. It's unknown what caused this occurrence. It's possible that the figure skater just lost control and could not stop herself. In any event, we're sure it wasn't easy for them to move on. Move aside. When falling, jogging on the track is never pleasant. The severity of your fall might vary greatly depending on where it occurs. It's like the bicycle analogy we discussed. It's okay to fall in the lead, but disastrous to fall in the rear. This unlucky track racer appears to have flopped in a precarious position before a crowd of runners trailing her. It's also not very good, but it's kind of funny. All we can hope is that she rolled out of the way relatively quickly, or that all those athletes could vault over her. Make an ambulance call, please. Something unsettling about the idea that people can get pleasure from other people's suffering is that you laugh instead of getting alarmed when encountering something that seems extremely dangerous. Cheers. But this is okay as long as the person you're making fun of is all right? This athlete seemed to have fallen on the ice, but he was fine and recovered from the mishap. Since we're all terrible people, we can all laugh at her extreme misfortune, and that's good with us. How did this even happen? To tell you the truth, we have no idea what's happening in this photo. We've heard that it's just one instance where you catch someone on camera at an awkward moment. I mean, even they can laugh heartily at something like this. You would be surprised at how many absurd expressions people unknowingly make daily. A lot of individuals make pretty funny faces while they are working hard. Therefore, it stands to reason that many athletes also make funny faces when competing. Not the way to play the game. Even with the extraordinary talent of professional athletes, the ball will sometimes end up wherever it wasn't supposed to be. Occasionally, those accidental positions can make for quite entertaining photos. Still, it doesn't seem like the man on the left is in a good mood. It's hardly surprising that he's furious because he seems to be aiming the basketball right at a sensitive spot. All that matters is that his suffering provides us with entertainment. Rest in peace. Considering how much this player must crouch throughout a baseball game, isn't it remarkable that something like this doesn't happen more often? The main query is whether they would stop a match so he could change into new attire, or would they be able to locate a replacement for him? In any other circumstance, an athlete in this position would be ashamed. Still, this one would be evil because everyone is already concentrating on him, and it's not like anyone could have missed him. Boom, headshot. The fact that this picture unequivocally demonstrates that the unlucky person tried to kick the ball is its most offensive feature. We just don't know if he inadvertently kicked it into himself or if he kicked it into his face. Maybe the whole impression of the comedy is enhanced by curiosity. To stray a little, it's incredible how far the nose can bend without breaking or harming anything. It's mysterious why the guy's face looks like that in this picture, but he will probably be okay in the end. The "oh crap" response. It's remarkable how quickly individuals respond when smacked in the face by baseballs. Even when a ball is hurtling through the air at hundreds of miles per hour, players have enough time to make goofy faces like these. Regretfully, there is typically insufficient time to clear the path before things spiral out of control. Even if it hurts a lot to be struck in the face by a baseball at high speed, we feel bad laughing at this joke. After all, finding humor in some circumstances often requires being insensitive. Ninjas at play. This is one of our rare, extremely humorous photos, even though nobody is in danger. To be honest, we have no idea what inspired the maker of this extraordinary yet hilarious picture. Is this the intended method of playing the game? In this sport, are you expected to execute sick ninja kicks? Or are they just doing what comes naturally to them, letting their imaginations run wild? These two athletes were somehow captured in a picture performing an extraordinary action. Hand me that ball, please. Sports where participants are likely to have physical contact with one another are always the subject of strange and entertaining photos. That being said, we're not quite sure why squeezing your opponent's face in the middle of a game would be beneficial. While most of these events happen accidentally, some athletes deliberately make physical contact with other players. Maybe he's upset that he doesn't have the ball, but is this the best way to get it? Is there a legal way to do it? Most likely not the intended outcome. Athletes always have a specific goal as they go about their profession. It's anyone's guess, though, whether that satisfying ending will come to pass or if you'll instead be consumed in a tragically hilarious blaze of glory. I'm sure you can figure out which one this is. We are praying for the best for him because we presume he hit his head on the bar. In any case, it's likely that this image is just a trick and that he didn't hit it that hard. It's entertaining, but it's also misleading. Cleaning the ice. Because of their greater physical strength and the fact that it is a less challenging task for them, men typically lift women when figure skating. Naturally, this does not mean this is how things usually work out. It does occasionally happen like this. We sincerely think that this picture was taken during a fancy move and that nothing terrible happened due to it. Nevertheless, it looks like the woman is trying to wipe it with his hair or is piling this poor guy into the ice. And it's an amusing idea to have, you know? Bring your best look to them. It could be simple to let your facial expressions go out of control when playing your sport with great intensity. She tried to hit the ball as hard as possible. Her clenched teeth and furrowed brows were visible. This tennis player was so focused on striking the ball that she didn't realize her tension and stress were showing on her face during the match. We're sure that her athletic prowess was more important to her fans, even though this may not have been her most beautiful look. Do you smell that? Sports or any other intense physical activity that involves prolonged physical exertion can lead to the development of unpleasant body odor. Although sweat is frequently held accountable for body odor, the actual cause of the stench is bacteria on your skin. Because bacteria break down the acids in sweat, a strong and frequently disagreeable odor is produced. In this picture, the basketball player asks the other player to ensure his deodorant works. Ouch! When you play professional soccer, there's always a chance that an opponent or even a teammate would confuse you for the ball. This picture captures the right moment and shows a soccer player facing his opponent's wrath. It looks in this picture that the player was trying to kick the ball at the same time as the other player was trying to bump it with his chest and managed to catch the action. Whatever the result, we feel bad for the dark blue shirt player. It looks like this is uncomfortable. Rough rugby players. Most people usually associate pantsing and depantsing with a school bully or a foolish joke gone wrong. This rugby player chose to apply this time-honored technique from the playground to the rugby pitch. What consequently transpired? A hilarious picture of a rugby player about to rip down his shorts. Although we're not the most prominent rugby rules experts, pulling someone's shorts down is improper. Maybe to save energy, these players will think twice before wearing 2 pairs of shorts to a game in the future. Cannonball. Although Simone Biles is the most decorated female gymnast in American history, she can also take some embarrassing pictures of herself. This picture shows Biles spinning in the air while performing a gymnastics routine called the twisting Yurchenko vault. The gymnast seems to be shot out of a cannon when she executes her gravity-defying move. It looks like Biles was just as scared of the dangerous technique as everyone else was, even if it had the judges and audience on the edge of their seats. Snoozing instead of splashing. Many people regard water polo as one of the world's most brutal sports. To score goals, players must stay afloat and toss the ball as frequently as they can into the opposition's goal. As the player in the picture demonstrates, playing this physically demanding game can leave players feeling physically exhausted. It seems he's prepared to hit the hay, not the ball, as they say. After all that failing, we can't say we blame him. Well-known wedgies. Rafael Nadal is a professional tennis player, highly regarded for his superior serving skills. But he's also well known for another thing he does on the court: wedgie picking, or picking his wedgies. Regardless of who is watching, Rafael Nadal is known for continually changing his shorts and underwear between games. Because of the tennis player's wedgie plucking, GQ magazine even asked him why he had to change his grip so frequently. "I can't change," Nadal answered. Peculiar ping-pong faces. Table tennis and ping-pong are indeed competitive sports, even if many consider them pleasant pastimes. The International Olympic Committee officially recognized table tennis as an Olympic sport in 1988. Ping-pong is a fast-paced sport requiring players to focus on both the ball and their opponent's movements when played competitively. This humorous expression on the face of a competitive ping-pong player is probably the result of this extreme degree of concentration. Heavy lifting. North Korea produces some of the most talented Olympic weightlifters in the world who participate in Pyeongchang for the Winter Olympics, surprising most people. South Korean athlete Rim Jong-sim has had a great deal of success. She brought home the gold medal she won in the women's 69-kilogram weight class at the 2012 Summer Olympics in London. It's not surprising that Jong-sim made this funny face, considering she was holding about 152 pounds above her head. She observed that the sheer power of lifting this massive weight caused her hair to stand up. New party tricks. It's not common knowledge that hockey players have gorgeous smiles, especially true of their rivals. While some players choose to wear mouth guards or other forms of facial protection, many just accept that chipped or broken teeth are an inevitable part of the game. Tooth injuries are common in hockey due to rogue pucks, aggressive players colliding with you, and unfortunate stick-to-stick exchanges. Thankfully, this hockey player has turned his wounds into a funny and exciting novelty act for his pals. Move it or lose it. Some sports, like basketball, are inappropriate for people who become scared quickly. Players can become physically hostile to one another during these intense games. During this particularly heated match, American basketball player Alicia Gray, competing in the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo, had no problem shoving her Japanese opponent out of the way. Although some would view Gray's efforts as aggressive, they played a significant role in the United States' triumph over Japan in the basketball match. Shall we dance? Wrestlers are typically associated with their rugged exteriors, but this picture shows that they may also have more delicate sides to them. The two competitors face each other while still upright at the start of most wrestling matches. The two wrestlers drop to the ground, and their match on the mat begins when the referee blows his whistle and says, "Wrestle." These two wrestlers are captured in the act of wrestling in this perfectly timed shot, looking more like they're getting ready to dance the waltz than participating in a violent full-contact sport. blinded by the dress. Selecting the proper attire for an Olympic competition might be difficult. Your wardrobe choice could cause an unforeseen fashion issue, even after you've made the ideal outfit selection. She was confident that her elegant ice dances and stunning emerald gown would wow the judges. Unfortunately, her dress's flowing fabric hid her partner's face during one of their performances. Fortunately, Alexander Ghazi, an ice dancer, and his partner, Nelly Zyganshina, haven't let this mistake with their outfit stop them from performing. Sealed with a kiss. Although rugby may be a violent, full-contact sport, it is possible for players to occasionally show some tenderness. This picture was taken when the faces of two female rugby players collided while they were trying to make a play for the ball. Although rugby started in England, it has become quite popular worldwide. Even though we find this photo funny, we hope the two gamers are not in danger. Hazards of being a ball girl. Even though most well-known professional tennis players are household names, other less prominent players are frequently credited for contributing to their success. Tennis players receive assistance from ball girls, also called ball people, who promptly gather and provide tennis balls to them. Not even these unsung heroes, well-trained and situation-ready training, could have prepared this ball lady for the shock of having a tennis player fall on her. To learn more, see the video above. This teenage tennis player was unprepared for the 2009 incident in which French tennis legend Michael Lautra fell on her during a practice match. Making faces. Nobody likes a bitter loser, but they also don't want a winner who is arrogant or ungrateful. Due to this gesture, one Italian news media called him the Pied Piper for his acts. In this picture, an Argentine soccer player, Carlos Tevez, appears to be teasing the other squad or gloating over a goal. While the Pied Piper's pipe may have drawn mice, Tevez's skill has won him several honors and accolades. That will make an imprint. Even when the ball is directly in front of you, it can be easy to lose sight of it during a soccer match due to the chaos and hustle of the game. This soccer player tried to kick the ball past the other team's goalie to score a goal for his team. Regretfully, he overlooked how far the ball was from the goalkeeper's face. The player's fast kick to the face was much more painful because his soccer cleats were coated with sharp metal fragments. Don't lose your head. Gymnasts participate in a unique sport called rhythmic gymnastics, where they use props like balls, hoops, ribbons, and other items to enhance their performance. They combine dance and gymnastics in their musically themed acts. Among other things, gymnasts' performances may include leaping, contortion, and precisely timed dancing moves. Rhythmic gymnasts like Silvia Mateva of Bulgaria frequently use balls as props. Silvia Mateva is seen holding a ball in this photo. Because of Mateva's flexibility and the photographer's skill, it appears like a silver ball has replaced her head. Stretched to the limit. In addition to being a physically demanding activity, professional football can also be harsh on apparel. When surrounded by grass and sweat stains, professional football players can find it challenging to keep their outfits looking their best. Amir Abdullah, the running back for the Detroit Lions, was tested by an opponent during a game when they took hold of his shirt as he was charging. Though we're sure the outfit was thrown away after the game, the fabric's exceptional elasticity deserves praise. Not you, but the ball goes in the net. For every athlete, competing in the athletic games is their ultimate goal. Competing in front of a big audience might be thrilling, but it can also be awkward when everyone is watching. Polish Olympic handball player Karol Bilecki realized it wasn't a good idea to have so many people watching him after he unintentionally slid into the goalie's net at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. He undoubtedly didn't like that the world knew about his error. Athletic maneuvers. Tennis isn't the first sport that springs to mind when people picture athletes pulling off incredible rolls, jumps, and other feats. But sometimes you must throw your weight around to stay in the game. The issue is that landings must be stuck, which is certainly not what happened in this case. This is hardly the finest way to stick a roll and get back on your feet, as you can surely assume. It made us laugh a little, but looks pretty bad for your neck. The worst moment of them all. You will find this predicament hilarious if you don't mind a bit of dark comedy at the expense of someone else's pants, even if its humor is more horrifying than humorous. He will make it through this trauma, but oddly enough, incidents like this happen far more frequently than you may think. That thinking makes motocross look scarier, but some individuals just look for the rush. Just before the catastrophe. Funny pictures tend to have a lot of these kinds of pictures. Just when everything is about to go wrong, a picture is taken. Everything is going smoothly. Before anyone asks, the answer is that using dogs for sports is legal. Furthermore, this photo is hilarious because it captures the duality between going well and impending tragedy. But what precisely she wanted that dog to do to behave in this way, we have to wonder. Or is it just lost in its direction? The one flop. Athletes frequently feel humiliated because they are constantly compared to other athletes. If those other athletes don't make a mistake when you do, you'll look even more silly. This is one of the reasons why athletes may feel embarrassed so rapidly. Only when everyone commits the same error is it okay. However, being the sole athlete to have such a humiliating loss in this instance does not augur well for the track runner's current standing. It is also not advantageous that there is no chance to bounce back and win in this circumstance. Not quite in sync. As we've said before, it's no secret that the awkwardness of graceful athletes make them laugh more than anything else. Since synchronized swimming is meant to be exceedingly graceful by nature, it fits right into this category. It says something that this artwork is funnier than it is elegant. Have you ever unintentionally stopped an animated film or TV series in the middle of a transition scene, creating an absurd screenshot that nobody was ever meant to see? Isn't that somewhat similar to this as well? Watch out, single ladies. Is this a soccer game? Or is catch the bouquet a brand new sport? Their intense hunger is rather pleasant in this instance. We can't tell, but these men are eager to get married, as they are all prepared to fight over the bouquet. Prayers do come true. It's rare to witness a goalie hoping for the ball to find them. Since their goal is to prevent the ball from entering the net at all costs, they probably won't need to make a save if it is far from them. This goalie appears to be hoping for the ball to arrive, and he watches with joy when his desire is granted. Location confusion. This isn't the beach. Come on. As she dashes across the field, this woman watches with delight as a guard follows after her in an attempt to tackle her. Sly. Why would she ever be wearing a bikini at a sports stadium? Maybe it was just a ruse to get her to go to a game with him. Her partner told her they were going to the beach. A close bond. If you're a sports enthusiast, you likely recognize a person's unique affinity with their team. The bond is unbreakable. It is unlike anything else. Together we rejoice, grieve, and win and lose together. Thus, before continuing to the game that day, this gentleman must have communicated this to his pregnant wife. He forgot his profession. Basketball players genuinely love what they do. Imagine getting paid to run up and down a court all day while maintaining excellent physical health. There is a ton of technical analysis. You go into space so your teammates can discover you and demand the ball from them. You can only imagine how perplexed this man's coaches must have been to see him so afraid of the ball. Stumble, tumble. These are determined women. They're all putting up their best effort to win this race. They all appear to be a little too near, though. What took place? A shoe that's not tied? Harmony? In any event, one fell and the others followed suit. Now the positions 73, 74, and 75 are ideal for continuing and winning. Towel rail. Is this an actor playing the towel rail? Indeed. However, this might not have been the primary goal. These women are demonstrating their extraordinary adaptability. Even though it's rather impressive, we can't help but feel that wearing a white leotard was a poor decision because they fit together like a towel on a rail. Renaissance art. It looks like it belongs to a magnificent church in Florence in the 1600s. Did Da Vinci create a work of art here? These fit men were simultaneously captured in the air to produce this fantastic picture. Even if they tried, we doubt they could recreate this. I got you, bro. Nothing is more genuinely reviving than witnessing a brother watch out for his fellow brother. Engaging in a soccer game? These brothers demonstrate that they will do all it takes to keep one another safe. That is insignificant compared to the significance of carrying your brother to ensure his safety. Monkey ball. On the court, this man has experimented with a novel approach. Every basketball player has a unique set of moves, and this man has one. He has chosen to glide through the air like a monkey to gain an edge over his rivals. Honestly, it might work. His opponents appear too perplexed to do much but gawk in confusion. They forget where they were. Frequently, you might become so engrossed in a moment that you lose track of time. These soccer players appear to have experienced this. They are so in love that they can't resist sharing a passionate moment in front of everyone, even if they are playing on a field. Let's see the game through, guys, and maybe preserve it for later. Tight marking. We understand that you occasionally need to mark your opponent extremely carefully in soccer, but we believe this Manchester City player is going a bit too far with those orders. This scene appears to be from a completely different context. Even the blue guy's teammate is astonished by it, and his expression is bewildered as he chooses to look aside awkwardly. The waltz. For months, these two have been taking dance classes in secret. They like more traditional dances, such as the waltz. Still, it's imposing. They play soccer full-time, but they have a secret interest in dancing. But sometimes old habits die hard, and when the two started dancing, they didn't realize they were in the middle of the game. Wrong balls. The tennis player in issue undoubtedly had a valid cause for acting in this way. Perhaps the ball boy wasn't grabbing the balls fast enough, and he was losing. Deep search. Hey, what's up with the Manchester team's players? They frequently appear to lose track of where and what they are doing. It seems that the blue side leader is searching far and wide for something. Maybe he lost his wallet or his car keys. Carlos, we don't think you'll discover anything worthwhile in there.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon